My eyesight is so awful that with my glasses on, I can't tell if this is in focus. Hello! Today I'm going to be talking about the books that I read in May, because, I mean, I read a fair few. I think I'm quite proud of that. And I know that this video is like 2 weeks into June, but better late than never. So, firstly, in May, I didn't read these all after one another. I read them at various points, but I finished the Narnia series, The Chronicles of Narnia by C.S. Lewis, which I'd never read before, and I'd only ever seen the Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe and Prince Caspian film. I think there's a Dawn Treader film, but I've not seen that one either. I read the first two in April, and I loved the Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe because I could just see the film in my head. It was weird. It was so good. I didn't actually ever realise how good that adaptation was, obviously, because I hadn't read the book. Reading this after seeing the film was like, it set my imagination soaring. I could just see everything. I could hear the people's voices, and it was just amazing. And obviously there were some differences which were done well in the book, which obviously the film did change, but I thought that it was really good, and it just made my reading process of it so much better because I could just see Narnia so clearly in my head. I love The Magician's Nephew as well, which was another one that I did read in April, but just quickly, like, I love seeing more backstory of Narnia because obviously this is a story we've not been told before, and I just love seeing more of it, so I did really like those. And then I read The Horse and His Boy in May, and it wasn't my favourite one, and I don't know if it was because it wasn't like I didn't really know the characters, but I felt that out of all of them it was a bit boring. Like, after Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, it went down a little bit. Like, it was not a very good follow-on story, but I loved Prince Caspian, I loved Dawn Treader, I loved The Silver Chair, and I loved The Last Battle. Again, The Silver Chair and The Last Battle were stories I weren't really familiar with, so to see more of the world, it was so good, and I loved them, and they're so good. All of these books I think are under like 200 pages, so it didn't take very long to read them and get through them and read them throughout the course of May. I loved them. I thought they were so good. I'm so glad I finally read them because it's been a very long time. Like, I'm 22 years old and I've gone my entire life not reading Narnia, so I'm glad I finally did. It was worth it. They were good. Then, also in May, I keep forgetting what month it is, I read A Court of Wings and Ruin by Sarah J Maas, which is the third book in the A Court of Thorns and Roses series by her, which has had lots of mixed opinions, and I prefer the second book in the series, A Court of Mist and Fury, because I read them both last year just before A Court of Mist and Fury came out, so I read A Court of Thorns and Roses and then straight away could read the other one, so I really loved that one. I thought there was more to it. This was good. I did enjoy it. It was during my week where I was signed off work because I have a lung infection and I had to like, go to hospital, and literally all I could do was like get out of bed and have a bath and then get back into bed, and it was just not a fun time. So this was my like sick book. This was the book I read when I was not very well. I did like it, but I felt like after the ending of A Court of Mist and Fury, without getting spoilery, I thought so much was going to happen. Like, I just had this idea like she was going to be in Tamlin's court and like so much was going to happen, and just like that it was just going to be this really intense, but it felt like they were like, okay, and this is the thing, but like it's over pretty quickly, it's fine, and this is the thing, but like it's fine, and this is fine, and this is fine, and like we're just gonna like go through all of these things, and it was just so like it just felt really quick, and like not very much happened, and then when it did happen it was like easily rectified, the situation, I guess. I may do a full review of this. I'm still trying to like coherently write one, so I may do a full review of it, and I did enjoy it, but like it was not as intense of a finale to Feyre's story as I would have wanted. Then in May I read two contemporaries, and the first one was The Upside of Unrequited by Becky Albertalli. Becky Albertalli wrote Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens Agenda, which I freaking love. Like, I love that book so much. So I knew that when she released a new one in April I had to get it and I had to read it, and I finally read it in May. And this is about a girl called Molly who is a twin, and her twin sister is she's always really good with the girl. She's been in loads of relationships and she knows kind of how to flirt and have relationships and stuff, but Molly only has ever really had crushes. And then her sister gets a new girlfriend and she introduces her to her girlfriend's friend, so a boy comes along, and then also Molly gets a job and meets a boy there, and I thought it was going to be like a love triangle thing, but it's really not at all. Like, it's really good, and I felt like she did this really well because it really sort of captured that feeling of when everyone around you is in a relationship and you're not, and how you feel like I can't contribute to this, and how some topics they make you feel uncomfortable. But this really captured that awkwardness and how uncomfortable you can feel when everyone around you is talking about things that you haven't experienced, and how that can feel, and how relationships can kind of change other relationships with different people and with families and stuff. And I just really liked it, and her books are always so diverse and so funny and so well written, and I love them. And there's a little hint of Simon versus the Homo sapiens agenda characters in this, so like, can we just put out there, like, I loved it. Like she talks to Simon, and I was just like, yes. I loved all the Harry Potter references in Simon versus the Homo sapiens agenda, and there were more in this, and also like references to Lin-Manuel Miranda, and I was like, how can I, like, I am clearly following and supporting the right authors when they appeal to my interests, when I'm not actively trying to seek out those interests. It was great. I loved it. So yeah, I love this book. I recommend Becky Albertalli. She's amazing. She's so good. So please just read her books. I love her. And then also in May, I reread Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe, and I love it. I just love Aristotle and Dante. It's my fave book ever. So this is my favourite contemporary standalone. It is currently only just a standalone, but there is going to be a sequel. So like, it will then be my favourite contemporary series, I guess. It's about a 15-year-old half Mexican, half American boy called Aristotle who lives in El Paso in Texas, and he can't swim, and he's a little bit confused about kind of life and growing up and being a teenager and what that all means, and his relationship with his family, and like realising that his parents are more than just parents and seeing them as people and all that kind of thing. And he's a bit lonely and a bit sad, and he can't swim, but he goes to the swimming pool one day just to kind of chill out and get out of the house, and he meets this boy called Dante, and kind of have a little bit of a laugh because it's Aristotle and Dante. So can swim, and he's got a different relationship with his parents, and very happy and go-lucky and bubbly and all this stuff, and it's the kind of relationship that they form, and growing up together and growing up apart, and sort of coming into yourself and learning about yourself and how you feel and coming to terms with things and accepting yourself and everything. And I loved this book. Like, I absolutely freaking, like, I read this book back in 2014 for the first time. It came out in 2012, and I remember reading it, and I was on holiday, and I didn't know if I was going to like it or not. I literally bought it on a whim, and I remember sitting on a sunbed for the whole day. I got so badly burnt just reading this book because I couldn't put it down. And it is an LGBTQ+ novel. I think it's a fantastic representation, like the way that they feel, and sort of accepting yourself, and then how everyone around you perceives you and stuff, and how you behave, and it's just absolutely incredible. I love this book so much. So I reread it in May, obviously, just to sort of give myself those warm feelings again that this book gave me the first time, and it did, and it made me feel lots better. And then finally in May I read Lord of Shadows by Cassandra Clare. Dun dun dun. This is the second book in the Dark Artifices series, and the new book in the whole Shadowhunter Chronicles, which follows the story of Emma Carstairs and Julian Blackthorne and their adventures after the massive, horrible cliffhanger that was Lady Midnight. I love this book. I love the whole Shadowhunter world. It's the best thing. I love it so much. It's so good and so enjoyable, and just like such a well-built, developed world with so many diverse characters and diverse storylines, and really well done. And like, the more books Cassandra Clare writes, the better her writing gets. You can see in every book the development, like, with her writing, and this was just so good. It just had so much to it. It was jam-packed full of stuff, and I loved it. I loved it a lot. It was so good. It was just really, really, really good. And I want everyone to read Shadowhunter Chronicles. Start with the Mortal Instruments, City and Bones, and then ruin your life from there. So those are all the books that I read in May. There was a mixture of fantasy and a couple of contemporaries thrown in, which did break it up, so that was pretty good. In June, I am rereading Harry Potter. I don't know if I took it the whole of June, because I'm not sure what Pottermore are doing with their book club and like how it all works and stuff, but I'm rereading Harry Potter at the moment, so yeah. What did you guys read in May? I'd love to know down below. I'm always open to recommendations. I'm always interested in what you guys are reading and any good books that you've discovered recently, so let's have a bookish chat. If you're new here, I make videos a couple of times a week, so if you would like to stick around and join us, then you can do that. And as usual, all my links will be in the description below if you would like to come hang out on my other social medias. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you're doing really well. And I will see you next time. Goodbye!